West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West Coast.
Let's do it, baby. Episode 22 of the West Coast Mindset. As always, I'm Alberto Lucero. And remember, guys, to like, subscribe, rate, review. And I love the attention I'm getting from the podcast last couple of weeks, guys. You guys are showing your support, and I love it. And I'm only going to do even better because of that. So thank you guys so much. And we got some more news, man. A lot of stuff is happening. We're getting closer and closer to the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. And I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, just love the support, guys. So let's get the show started right now. Beginning with a drama soap opera that's been happening all season, ever since the offseason. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, and their saga of should I stay, should I go? Is Giannis a bad guy to ask to come out of Milwaukee, or should he force himself out of Milwaukee, or are the Bucks keeping him hostage? A lot of stuff is going on, but yeah, recent news came out that the NBA is investigating the Bucks for not playing Giannis Antetokounmpo, who was listed to have a knee injury last couple of weeks when he's actually healthy, and he didn't play in this final regular season game to close out the season. And yeah, Giannis isn't happy, man. He wants to go out there and play, and I respect him a whole lot for doing that. He's a warrior. He wants to go out there and he loves playing the game, and he wants to be out there with the squad, especially right now because his two brothers, Alex and Thanasis, they're playing for the Bucks. So you know Giannis is all about family. He wants to go out there and he wants to be out there with his two brothers and have that moment. But Milwaukee's like, nah, bro. Like, you're not going out there. We want to tank. We want to do our best to get a draft pick high in this draft because this is a loaded draft coming out. Top 5 players in this draft. All could be possible all-stars, maybe franchise players. We'll see. And Milwaukee wants a chance to get into that bunch, but Giannis doesn't think so. He still wants to go out there and win and do the best he can and give the best he can to lead Milwaukee to wins and championships, although that's a very long shot. But in his mind, the dude is all about winning. He's all about going out there and trying to win a championship. But in my opinion, I think it's time for them to just call quits. I think it's time for them to say goodbye. Deuces, it's over. We had a great relationship. It was a great love experience, but not all relationships end great, and this one has to end ugly, and it's time. And it should have ended a long time ago, man. Look, it was happening ever since the off season. Giannis was going on podcasts and going out there and saying that they don't treat him right, that he would love to be in New York, that he would love to be in a winning situation, and he sees that Milwaukee is not in that situation. But then he comes out before the season. He's like, "Oh no, I'm committed. I'm for the team. I love the state of Milwaukee. I love being here with my family. They treated me great, and I love it here." And it just has us scratching our heads. It's like, dude, what do you want to do exactly? Do you want to stay on a bad team and be loyal and love the lifestyle that you have as the guy in Milwaukee, but be in a losing situation? Or do you want to get the best out of your still great ability at still not a very old age, at 31 years old, and try to compete for more championships and do that in another city? But he just can't make up his mind, and then he has a couple of instances where he says some things that makes you think he wants to leave Milwaukee. Then there's the ongoing saga of the front office poking back at him and possibly giving hints that they want to shop him at the trade deadline, that he's available possibly. And a couple of teams gave some offers, but they didn't budge. Then Giannis gets the injury in the middle of the season, and it caused him to miss a lot of the season, if not all the season. And he's on the sidelines. And then there's another time where he's giving the middle finger to, or not middle finger, the thumbs down to the fans for booing the team because they're playing so bad. And it's just a very, very toxic situation right now. It's not looking good. And And yeah, I think Giannis just has to put his big boy pants on and just say, hey man, I gave so much to the city. I gave you guys everything that I could, and I just can't be here no more. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it was a great ride. I love you here. My family loves you here, but it's just time for me to go my separate ways and to not waste the rest of my prime years in the losing situation. I want to go out there, and I want to go out and possibly be a top 10 player all time and have the resume of championships along with my stats and all that. And I bet you that Milwaukee would not have a problem with it. The front office wouldn't. Definitely the fans wouldn't. I don't know if there's some Bucks fans in the comments. Let me know. Would you guys be upset if Giannis went out publicly and asked out? Because I don't think he would. I think if he publicly said, Milwaukee, I love you here, but it's time for us to go our separate ways, I don't think any Bucks fans would have any issue with him at all. He's given everything they can to him. They got him a championship for the first time in 50-something years, ever since Kareem was there. Yeah, when Kareem was there, and he was still a little cinder at the time. And yeah, man, like he has given everything he could to that franchise and to that city. And I don't think that the Bucks fans would hate him one bit if he did ask out. And yeah, man, he doesn't deserve a whole lot of blame, but he deserves a little bit of blame in this debacle the last couple of years as well. You know, they had a great thing when Drew Holiday was there and Chris Middleton was healthy, and they had a good core of role players that fit the system, and he was the guy. And they had a good coach. I get it, Mike Budenholzer. I was a little skeptical of him myself. I thought he was kind of overrated myself, but he does a pretty good job. He's a very good X's and O's coach, and he did a good job with Milwaukee when they won that championship in 2021. And he did the right things, and he made the right calls when it comes to running that team. And I thought he deserved a longer leash after that, but they let him go, and then they bring in Adrian Griffin as the next coach of Milwaukee, and he does pretty good. Like they had him at a 28-13 record before they let him go, and Giannis reportedly had a big part of it. He didn't like the way that he was coaching the team. He didn't like the way he was handling the team, and he didn't think that Adrian Griffin was the guy going forward. So then they bring in my friend Doc Rivers, and if you saw last episode, you saw that I'm not a Doc Rivers fan. And ever since then, he got them to the playoffs, to give him that. But it's been an absolute disaster. Doc Rivers is continuing to be Doc Rivers. He underachieves with the talent that he has. And they lost last year in the first round to the Pacers, who wound up getting to the finals. Shout out to them. But yeah, man, Giannis has a big part of that. And then they traded Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard, and I thought myself, I will say that it was going to be a match made in heaven. That pick and roll with him and Dame was going to be awesome, but it really didn't work out that well. Chemistry was not there. Damian Lillard's deficiencies on the defensive end really cost them, and the Bucks were not the same defensively as they were when they won the championship, and they were going to those conference finals, and it just didn't work out. And then obviously Dame tears the Achilles, and that was a very sad thing to see last year. And it's been an absolute disaster ever since. They got Miles Turner this offseason to possibly woo Giannis and be like, oh yeah, we got Miles Turner. We got a pretty good front court here. Maybe this could work. But that didn't work either. And now they're in salary cap hell. And overall, it's just a very, very bad situation in Milwaukee. And Shams Charania came out a couple of days ago, and he says that he confirmed that it is very toxic, that Doc Rivers is making some comments in the locker room that players didn't agree with, and he possibly might have lost the locker room. And overall, just the way the franchise is going, the front office may not be long, and Doc Rivers and the front office might be gone. It might be a clean slate for the franchise going forward, and Giannis might get traded. So if you're a Milwaukee Bucks fan, it's not looking real good for your team going forward. I mean, possibly it could be good if you get a top 5 pick. Maybe you can get AJ Labanza. Maybe you can get Darren Peterson or Cameron Boozer if you're lucky. Hell, the Mavericks had the ninth best odds last year to get the first overall pick and get Cooper Flag. And hey, maybe it was a little bit of a conspiracy theory that they got the first overall pick after losing Luka. But hey, be my guest, man. I thought it was a little fishy too, but crazier things have happened. Like they got the first overall pick. The Pelicans got Zion a couple years ago, and they were like the ninth to 10 best odds to get that, and they got the first overall pick. So you never know, man. The lottery could go your way, and if they do indeed trade Giannis this offseason, and they do get a top pick in the draft, they can start all over, get a clean slate, get some draft picks, and possibly build the next great Bucks team going forward in the future, and build something special. But with the way things are right now, I think it's time for both parties to part ways and start over and possibly build a winner in Milwaukee, and also for Giannis do his best to go to another team and build what is already a great resume to a Hall of Fame career. Multiple-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, NBA champion, multiple-time All-NBA, multiple-time All-Defense. I mean, the dude is just unbelievable, man. He's going to be remembered as one of the best players to ever play not only Milwaukee, but in the NBA. And the dude is just a great talent. And no question, he's the best player out of Greece. And the resume is just fantastic. And if he is traded and he does go to another team, he would look pretty good in New York. He already hinted it in the offseason, but if you're looking at it, man, I don't know if if the Knicks have the picks or enough assets to go after him. But we'll see in these playoffs. If Karl-Anthony Towns is not playing well, they might trade him and add him to the package, or maybe Mikal Bridges, or whoever doesn't do good, and the Knicks don't live up to expectations that they had this offseason to possibly win the championship, and they underwhelm in his playoffs. Maybe they might give up half of the franchise for Giannis. I mean, it's worth it. If the dude is that good and you put him with Jalen Brunson, hey, the Knicks might be right back there to be the favorite to win the championship out of the East. And Giannis would definitely be a big part of that. So I like that. I actually heard a rumor a couple of hours ago that maybe the Celtics would. Oh, that would not be fair if he went to Boston, man. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and him, or maybe Jason Tatum and him, or Jaylen Brown and him, whatever the situation is. That would just be out of this world crazy. Maybe the Hawks. The Hawks are playing well, man. They have a nice young team. I like the athleticism they have. They have a lot of defenders. They can shoot. I like Jalen Johnson. He's really become a great player. He was an all-star this year, and he's one of the best two-way players in the game. You pair him with Giannis, that'd be pretty crazy. Maybe send him to the Rockets. That'd be pretty cool. Depending on how the Rockets do it in the playoffs against the Lakers. Hopefully the Lakers come back healthy, but that's another story. but maybe, yeah, he goes to the Rockets. Maybe they give up Şengün. Maybe they give up Amen Thompson in that package. So if I'm the Bucks, I think you just wait. You see what happens in these playoffs, and then you possibly could get a better package in this offseason. But if you want to do that, you have to do it this offseason. Giannis cannot be in the Bucks uniform next season. He cannot. It's just too toxic over there, and the situation is just not going to work. And he supposedly, even though he doesn't say it publicly, he wants out. And I just think it's time for both teams to part ways, and it'll be the better for everybody else. So if you're a Bucks fan, have hope. It'd be sad to see Giannis leave, but you may possibly get something to build for the future. All right, moving on to another team in the East Coast, and we got Joel Embiid, who had surgery for an appendicitis injury, and it was successful, and he's listed out as indefinitely, and his status for playing the playoffs are in doubt. And another tough injury, man, for Joel Embiid, and what's been a very injury-riddled career. Dude just cannot stay on the court. It's very sad, and for those Sixers fans, man, I feel so bad for them. They went through so much hell before him and Ben Simmons got there. Went through so many years of losing with the process. Remember that nickname of the team, trust the process. And they got those players, and they got him as well. And they were able to possibly build something special with him and Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons, we know what happened to him. The dude just mentally has faded away and just cannot play the game anymore. And he didn't get better after his rookie year, and it was a disaster. And he's nowhere to be found. And I don't know if he even wants to get back into the league at this point. But for Joel Embiid, he was supposed to be the guy to build around and lead this team to the promised land. But he's been injured ever since he walked into the league. Remember when he came into the NBA his rookie year, he missed the entire year with the foot injury, and he missed a lot of the rest of the next year. So that's about 2 years of seasons that he's missed out with injury. And he came back and he looked like something special, man. As soon as he walked on the floor, the dude, when he's healthy, he is a monster. 7'2", a big guy, a lot of skill. One of the best jump shooting big men I've ever seen. He can dominate inside, outside. He can pass it. He's a really good defender. And yeah, when he's on the court, a lot of Anthony Davis, Laker fans, you know what I'm talking about with that. A lot of Anthony Davis, when they're on the court and they're healthy, those guys can dominate at both ends better than anybody else in the league. And he was supposed to be something great, but the guy just cannot stay on the court, man. He's either too heavy. He has these little knick-knack injuries that get worse by the season, and by the time the playoffs come, they get worse and worse and worse, and he has to miss games in the playoffs. He has stomach issues. It's always something with Joel Embiid, man. He's just never available, and Sixers fans can't take it no more. And hell, NBA fans can't take it no more. Like, I want to see this guy play too, but I just can't trust that he's going to be available when it matters most, and we can't watch him play because the dude is absolutely fantastic when he's out there. But yeah, man, it's happening again. The 76ers are 8th in the Eastern Conference. They're in the play-in race, and Joel Embiid was playing well before this injury. When the season started, he was kind of in the background because he was still recovering from the injuries that he had last year. And Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe were really coming into their own and becoming the best two guys on that team to lead the force on that team as the best scorers in the backcourt. And Joel Embiid was just building himself up. And we saw over time, going towards mid-season and towards the end of the season, that he was slowly starting to ramp up and become that MVP caliber player he was before all the injuries. And if people in Philadelphia are starting to get excited too. Paul George, remember, he had the PD suspension where he had to miss 25 games. He came back and he's playing well too. He fit right into the mold. And that team was starting to roll, man. And I was starting to drink the Kool-Aid too, man. I was like, hey, maybe the 76ers could become a sleeper, a dark horse team in the Eastern Conference and possibly scare some people. But then this happens, and right on schedule, yep, Joel Embiid out indefinitely, and it's just a punch to the gut, man. I felt so bad for the other players in that team. They really thought they'd go out there and make a run. I feel bad for Nick Nurse ever since he got there. He's had to deal with this, and he knows that if he has a full roster that's healthy with all of his best players, he has the resume to go out there and lead these guys to something great. But a lot like Ty Lue with the Clippers, his best player is not available, and his hands are just always tied behind his back from the start, and he just can't do anything about it, no matter how good of a coach you are. If you don't have your best players, you just can't win. So it is what it is, and for him, he just can't figure it out. Tyrese Maxey, I love him a lot, man. He's really coming into his own, and he's becoming one of the best players in the league, one of the best guards in the NBA, and he looks like he's ready to be a great player, but he doesn't have his running mate and Joel Embiid. And when they're on the court together, that pick and roll with his speed, the way he can drive to the basket, the way that Joel Embiid can catch the ball on the post and finish, it's great. But when he's not there, he's a lot easier to defend. they load the backcourt, and Tyrese Maxey really can't go off, and it's not a good thing. I really like VJ Edgecombe a lot. I think he's gonna be a really good player. Has a lot of athleticism. His jump shot's getting better and better, but without Joel Embiid in the paint, they can also load up on him, and it's just so much easier to defend the Sixers. And they could possibly go out in the play-in. They could possibly go out in the first round and possibly get gentlemen swept by whatever team they face, whether if it's the Pistons or the Celtics. And it's just a very, very tough time in Philadelphia right now. Sixers fans, man, I feel for you guys. Like, you guys always are just right there, and then something happens in the end, and it just doesn't work out. And I know it's time for people to possibly say that. Is it time to trade Joel Embiid? Like I said with Giannis, has it been too toxic, and has he been there too long? And it's a time for both teams to part ways. And with this one, I got to be a little more critical on this one. I think you can blame Joel Embiid a little more, and you could be more upset at him for leaving because he's not available. You can't rely on him, at least with Giannis. When he's in the court, he's going to give it his all. He's going to be in shape, and when he's on the court, there's results. But with Embiid, there's always issues about is he in shape? Is he putting the work in? Does he have the heart to play through injuries and to go out there and give his best every single night? That's been questioned the last couple of years. And Sixers fans, you have the right to feel that way. And if he indeed is traded, which I don't know if he will be because his contract is pretty expensive, but I'm saying hypothetically, if he is traded, you guys have the right to possibly let him have it when he comes back to Philadelphia, because you expected so much out of this guy, and he just has not been there for you, and he hasn't gotten you to the promised land that you thought he was send you to when he was drafted there, and he was indeed the guy. But hey, sometimes it doesn't work out, and I think it's time for him possibly to have a fresh start and try to do something somewhere else, because it just doesn't work. And it looks like Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe are the heads of the snake on this team, and they're ready to move on, and they're ready to be the guys on this team. And I just don't know if Joel Embiid is a part of that nucleus going forward. And he's only getting older, and you don't get healthier the more you get older. You only get more hurt the more you get older. Unless you're LeBron, but that's a different story. But that's one of a kind. But yeah, Joel Embiid, I think it's time for you to move on. I don't know if he'll ask for a trade. I don't know if the Sixers will say it's time to move on, and they can't take it no more. But whatever it takes, it's time for Joel Embiid to say deuces and say, hey guys, it's time that I try to compete somewhere else. And for the city of Philadelphia and the Sixers fans, I think it's time for you guys to say, hey, it's time for you to get out of here, and for us to start something new and start a fresh new era in Philadelphia. All right, so let's close it out here with the Houston Texans, and they exercise their fifth-year option on C.J. Stroud. They also exercise the fifth-year option on Will Anderson, great pass rusher, had a great year last year. But I really want to focus on C.J. Stroud, and this is a very interesting one. I talked about Jalen Hurts last week, and this is a big year for him. But for C.J. Stroud, it's even more bigger for him, man, because the dude is playing for his job right now in Houston. You would have not thought about that after his rookie season. I drink the Kool-Aid too, man. He had one of the greatest rookie seasons that we've ever seen. I mean, he was obviously the offensive rookie of the year, got a playoff win, and he was only on the up and up, man. We saw possible greatness out of him. Hell, people were even picking him to make the Super Bowl the year after that, and they were saying that, hey, he's the guy, and he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league for years to come. But ever since then, man, he's regressed. I get it. He's gotten the Texans to the playoffs every year in his career. But if you look at the numbers and you watch the tape, man, he just really hasn't taken that next step that we all thought he was going to take after that rookie year. And he's only gotten worse. And this last season, man, it was one of the worst of his career. He suffered his first major injury of his career in the NFL. And when he got back, it took him a while to get back into the fold. And it was more of the defense getting the wins than him, and the running game as well with Woody Marks and Nick Chubb. But now he's off the team, and we'll see where he goes. But it was more of a running base defense team, and it really wasn't about C.J. Stroud. And I was thinking of what a lot of people were thinking. If you add C.J. Stroud to what's already a team with a great defense, a team with a great running game, if he can just be a game manager and not put the ball in harm's way, the Texans can get to the Super Bowl. And I was thinking that as well, man. I thought that it was a perfect formula because we saw it with the Seahawks, man. Like Sam Darnold, I'll give him credit though. He played very, very well in the playoffs. He played okay in the Super Bowl. But if you have a defense and you got a running game that can travel anywhere and it can get you some wins in the playoffs. And I was thinking the Texans were going to be good enough, and C.J. Stroud was going to be good enough to be that game manager and get them wins to the playoffs and possibly get to the AFC Championship game and hell, maybe the Super Bowl. But man, he did not show up at all, man. You can make the argument he was the reason they didn't go far in the playoffs, because as we saw in that game against Pittsburgh, he did not play well, but they won despite of him because that defense was so good and they were getting turnovers and they were all over Aaron Rodgers. But he turned over the ball multiple times in that game, and they won in spite of him. And then we saw in that divisional playoff game against the Patriots, a career high 4 interceptions, and the dude cannot get the ball past midfield. He was struggling all game, and you just saw that his confidence was just shocked, man. The Patriots defense and Mike Vrabel just took the life out of his heart, and he looked shook, man. He, like, you can see in the replay the close-ups of his face. He just looked totally shell-shocked, and he was scared, and he was seeing ghosts out there. And I will say this, his offensive line is not the greatest, and the Texans did not do a good job of building that line and making it as strong as it could be. But still, man, there was plays out there where you're just like, dude, like, CJ, like, why are you throwing that ball there? Like, just throw out of bounds. Why are you forcing things? And he just did not look in sync out there at the quarterback position, and did not look good under center. And his confidence was just not there. And he had 7 turnovers in the playoffs, by far the most out of a quarterback in the playoffs this last season. And yeah, man, he just has not lived up to the bill ever since his rookie year. And this is a big year for him, man, because they did exercise the 5th-year deal, but they said publicly that they want to see him play well before they gave him that long-term extension, because he's eligible for a multi-year extension to be the quarterback of the Texans for the foreseeable future. But with those results, and you only get better by adding more to your resume, and having that on his resume recently, that's not a good case for him or his agent to be out there and say, hey, bro, I want to get paid and I want to be one of the highest paid quarterbacks. But with those numbers, man, I don't know how you can go to the table and make that argument, because, yeah, he was not good, and he just has to show that he's getting better. And I don't know if it led to him cutting his braids off, because he looks a completely different dude now. We saw after the playoff game, he cut his braids off. Now he's more of a mohawk guy, and he's just going through a whole new image change. He wants to flush off this bad performance that he had in the playoffs, and he just wants to flush all the way and start over and show that he can be back to that guy in his rookie year that was showing us that he can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league going forward. And he has the ability, man. I still think he can be a really, really good player in this league. He has the build. He's athletic. He's fast. He's got a good arm. But it's all just a mental thing. I just think he has to fix whatever he has going on mentally, fix the demons he has in his head, and just get back to the basics, get back to the fundamentals, get in sync with the offense. He's gonna get Tank Dell back this year. That's huge for him because Tank Dell was gone all last season, and that was his best deep threat, and he really missed him last year. So getting him back would really help. Well, he obviously has one of the best receivers in the league, and Nico Collins out there. And unfortunately for him in that playoff game against the Patriots, Nico Collins didn't play because he had a concussion. So you can possibly say that was the reason why he didn't play well. But still, to turn the ball over 4 times in that game, there's no excuse for that. That's just very, very bad. But yeah, going into next year, you got Tank Dell, you got Nico Collins, and you got a generational defense. You have a Super Bowl caliber defense in your disposal. All CJ has to do is just go out there and flush what you had last couple of years, get it out of your head, just take care of the football, and just go back to playing fundamental football because you got the weapons on offense and defense. So it's all up to CJ, man. CJ's just got to go out there and prove his worth, and show that he can be that guy. And if he can do that, then the Texans can go places, and they can possibly be one of the best teams out of the AFC, if not in the NFL, and possibly be a contender for the Super Bowl next year. Because there's a lot of teams out there next year that are gunning at the Seahawks, and a lot of people, including myself, don't think the Seahawks are going to be that good next year. They'll still be a really good team, obviously, and be a playoff team, but I don't think they're the foreseeable favorite to win the Super Bowl. So if the Texans can get back in that race, man, they could be a scary team. And if CJ Stroud gets things back together, then they could be one of the teams in the Super Bowl next year and possibly be hosting the Lombardi in Houston. And guys, I want to thank you guys so much for your support. As I said in the beginning of the podcast, this platform is only getting better and better. And I have some news in the future that I can't give you just yet. But this platform is only going to get bigger, and it's going to be a great product. So I'm so happy for not just myself, but for you guys for possibly seeing even greater things. And it's going to be awesome. And I will spread the news in an upcoming episode on this platform. And yeah, man, it's going to be a fun playoffs, a fun next couple months. And yeah, I just love what I have here, and you guys are a big part of it. So big thanks to you. And with that, this was the West Coast Mindset. I will see you guys next week.
This the West, 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 West. This the West, 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 the West Coast. This the West, 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 the West, West. This the West, 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 the West.